You ever wonder why, in the quietest moments of your day, there's a strange feeling in your chest? Like something, or someone, is waiting for you to pause long enough to notice it. Not fear, not anxiety, but presence. You tell yourself it's just your imagination, that you're tired, overthinking, but it keeps happening, doesn't it? In the car, when you drive alone, when you lie in bed after a long day, even when you're surrounded by people, but still feel like you're missing something. There's a stillness behind the noise, a knock behind the distractions, and you felt it for years. It isn't trying to scare you, it's trying to reach you. This isn't about a religion. It's not about tradition. It's about a relationship that's been chasing you since the moment you took your first breath. God has been trying to reach you, not with lightning, not with fire from heaven, but with gentle moments, whispers, the ones you often overlook. Every close call you survived, every time you were on the edge but didn't fall, every stranger who showed up at the perfect time, every gut feeling that saved you from a mistake, every tear you cried that no one saw, but someone did. You thought you were forgotten, overlooked, too messed up, too far gone. But that's not the voice of God. That's the lie that's trying to silence his voice. Because here's the truth. God doesn't send messages to perfect people. He sends messages to the broken, the tired, the lost, the overwhelmed, the ones everyone else gave up on. Yes, you. You've walked through fire. You smiled with a heavy heart. You've laughed while bleeding inside. You've been strong for others while you were drowning quietly. And you kept going. God sees that. God values that. And God's been trying to speak into that. But the world is loud, and pain shouts, and pride builds walls. So he waited, patiently, lovingly, sending message after message, through a verse, through a child's voice, through a canceled plan, through a dream that shook you, through the friend who told you, "I don't know why, but I feel like I should check on you." And you brushed it off. You've been searching for answers in your own strength, trying to be the healer, the warrior, the provider, the fixer. But sometimes the one who holds it all together is the one most in need of being held. This isn't weakness. This is the moment you realize you were never meant to carry it all alone. You were never meant to keep pretending everything is fine, because you've been the hero in everyone else's story. Now it's time to let God be the hero in yours. He's been watching every battle, every breakdown, every breath you've taken when it felt like the world was against you. And still, you're here. Still standing, still searching, still hoping, even if quietly. And right now, this is not just a video. This is a divine interruption. A message wrapped in pixels and sound waves, but carrying eternal weight. Not because the words are powerful, but because they're meant for you. You've tried to numb it, outrun it, ignore it, but his voice keeps getting louder. Because the truth is, you're not forgotten. You're not an accident. You're not random. You are seen. You are chosen. You are being pursued. God doesn't text. He doesn't post, but he sends signs, symbols, situations. He allows shakeups so you'll look up, because he knows what's trying to break you. He knows what's been draining your soul. And he's not mad. He's not ashamed. He just wants to be let in. You keep asking for peace, but rejecting the Prince of Peace. You're begging for rest, but refusing to lay it down. You want clarity, but won't turn down the volume of everything else. And he's still here, still calling, still trying to reach you. Do you think that's by chance?
Do you think it's an accident that you're hearing these words right now? Because truth be told, you've been marked for more since the beginning. Even in your lowest days, when you felt invisible, you were surrounded. Even in your rebellion, you were protected. Even when you cursed the heavens, God still whispered hope over your life. Why? Because He doesn't give up. Not on you, not on anyone. Your name has been on His heart longer than you've been alive. And now, He's not asking you to be perfect. He's not asking you to perform. He's asking you to respond, to say yes. Yes to grace. Yes to healing. Yes to being known, truly known, and still loved. Not fake love, not conditional approval, not shallow praise. Real love. Love that stays. Love that rebuilds.
You've been told you're too much and not enough in the same breath, but God calls you worthy. Not because of what you've done, but because of who He is. This isn't a motivational speech. This isn't hype. This is heaven knocking. Will you open? This has been trying to reach you all along, through the silence, through the chaos, through the days you nearly gave up, through the nights you cried into your pillow, through every song, every verse, every encounter you can't explain. It was Him. And now He's saying, I see you. I know you. I still want you. Even with the baggage, even with the doubts, even with the scars, especially with the scars, because your scars tell a story, not of defeat, but survival. And He wants to use your survival for someone else's salvation. But first, you have to stop running. You have to stop pretending. You have to stop saying, I'll do it later. Later is dangerous. Later is a lie. The time is now, not because of pressure, but because of love. You've waited for a sign. This is it. This is your burning bush, your Red Sea moment, your whisper on the mountain. Not for religion, not for show, for rescue. Because the truth is, God has been trying to reach you. And now you've heard Him. So what now? You don't need a sermon. You don't need a checklist. You don't need to clean yourself up first. You need surrender. Right here, right now. Just whisper, God, I'm listening. That's all. He'll do the rest. Because He's not just trying to reach you. He's trying to rebuild you. And your story isn't over. It's just beginning. You keep telling yourself it's nothing. That voice inside? Just thoughts. Just overthinking. Just your mind playing tricks. But what if it's not? What if it's been Him this whole time, quietly speaking, gently nudging, while you keep calling it coincidence? Because, let's be honest, too many things lined up. Too many perfect timings. Too many close calls. Too many, how did I get through that moments? And yet, you keep brushing it off like it's luck, like you're just strong, like you've been carrying this all by yourself. But deep down, you know that's not true. There were moments you should have broken, moments that should have destroyed you, moments that had no earthly explanation for your survival. But you're still here. That's not luck. That's love. That's the hand of God reaching through the wreckage, saying, I'm not done with you yet. You've ignored the signs for years. That one time everything fell apart, only to make room for what really mattered. That breakup that felt like death, but saved your soul. That delay that kept you from the wrong path. That rejection that redirected your future. You thought those were failures, but God was editing your story, not ending it. He was pulling you out of places that looked good, but would have destroyed you. He was letting certain people walk away, not because He didn't care, but because they couldn't go where you're going. And now, He's speaking again. You've asked for clarity. This is it.
You've asked for proof? You're hearing it now. Because it's not that God hasn't been speaking, it's that we've stopped listening. You got busy, distracted, worn out. You drowned in expectations, in pressure, in pain. You learned to survive, not to trust. You became a master at pretending, not healing. You smiled to hide the ache, and it worked for a while. But the cracks are starting to show, because your soul wasn't designed to carry this weight without help. And the longer you ignore the whisper, the louder the pain gets. Not because God is punishing you, but because He's trying to wake you up. He won't force you. He'll never scream over your free will. But He will keep knocking, gently, faithfully, lovingly. And this is one of those knocks. You don't need a preacher to tell you this. You've already felt it in your bones. You've known for a while that something's off, that life as it is isn't working anymore. You try to fill it with noise, with people, with progress, with escape. But the silence keeps following you, because you can't outrun a calling. And make no mistake, you are called. You weren't born to just exist. You weren't created to chase approval or build a life that impresses everyone but empties your soul. You were made for something deeper, something eternal. And that's what's been trying to reach you. Not guilt, not religion, not control, but purpose.
A purpose so divine, so unique, so tailored to the depths of who you are, that nothing in this world can substitute it. You've been wandering through deserts you weren't meant to live in. You've been building identities on foundations that keep cracking. You've been searching for home in places that only give you temporary shelter. But God, He's not here to shame you for that. He's here to bring you home. Home isn't a location. It's not a building or a job or a feeling. Home is Him, and He's been calling you back for so long. You thought you needed answers, but what you really need is alignment. Because when you're aligned with God, even chaos starts to make sense. Even pain starts to produce fruit. Even waiting becomes preparation, not punishment. Right now, He's asking for your heart, not your performance, not your resume, not your perfect past, because there is none. Just your surrender. God never needed your qualifications. He just needed your permission. You've spent years trying to control the outcome, trying to protect yourself, trying to play it safe. But safety is not the same as peace. You've chosen predictable misery over uncertain healing because, at least the pain is familiar, right? But God's not calling you to stay broken just because it's all you've known. He's calling you higher, deeper, realer. And yes, it might cost you some comfort. It might stretch your faith. It might strip away things you thought were essential. But what you gain? Real identity, real peace, real joy, not the fake stuff that depends on circumstances. Because God doesn't offer shallow fixes. He offers transformation. And transformation starts with one simple yes. God, I'm tired of running. I'm tired of pretending. I'm tired of carrying things I was never built to carry, so I give it to you. That's it. No performance, no magic words, just honesty. And the moment you open that door, even just a little, God steps in like the flood you've been holding back.
He restores what you thought was dead. He breathes into what you thought was lost. He rebuilds what you thought was too broken. You thought he was distant, but he was never far. You just stopped looking, but he never stopped watching. Every moment you doubted yourself, every time you cried alone, every night you went to sleep praying for a sign, even if you didn't call it prayer, he heard it, and he's answering now. Not with flashing lights, not with fire from the sky, but with a whisper. This has been trying to reach you. And now that it has, don't go back to silence. Don't let this moment pass. Don't scroll past it like it's just another video, because it's not. It's him. And he's not offering rules. He's offering rescue. You wanted a sign. Here it is. The next move is yours. There's something you've been holding in for a long time. A memory. A weight. A regret you can't seem to outrun. No one knows the full story, not even the people closest to you. You carry it well, you smile on cue, you laugh at the right time. But inside, you're exhausted because you've been performing strength when all you really want is peace. Not the peace that lasts for a weekend, not the peace that comes from a vacation or a distraction, but that deep, soul-level stillness that doesn't shake even when the world does. And that kind of peace, only one place offers it. God has been trying to reach you, not to shame you for your past, not to demand perfection, but to trade your performance for presence. He never asked you to have it all figured out. He's been whispering to you, in the middle of your stress, in the height of your chaos, in the in-between moments where no one's watching and the mask starts to slip. But you keep pushing it down, telling yourself, later, I'll deal with this later. Later is the lie that keeps people stuck. Later is the enemy's lullaby, convincing you you've got time to delay destiny. But something inside you knows, this moment right here, this one, is not random. You didn't land here by accident. You didn't click this just because. There's something bigger moving. You can feel it. And that feeling, that's the echo of eternity trying to break through the noise. It's not anxiety. It's alignment. You're starting to wake up to something the world can't give you. And that's why it scares you. Because once you taste truth, fake won't satisfy anymore. And you've been surrounded by fake for too long. Fake friends, fake smiles, fake strength, fake spirituality, fake coping mechanisms dressed up as healing. You're over it. Deep down, you're craving real, even if it costs you everything comfortable, because comfortable has been killing you slowly. God sees that. He's not judging you for it. He's calling you out of it, not with guilt, but with grace. You think you're too broken? Good. Broken is where real begins. You think you're too far gone? Wrong. You're just far enough to realize you can't save yourself. And that's the moment heaven shows up. You were never supposed to fix yourself before coming to him. You come broken, and he does the mending. You bring the pieces, he brings the purpose. You bring the mess, he brings the mercy. That ache in your chest, that pull you feel, that's eternity knocking again. This has been trying to reach you since day one. Through the teacher
who believed in you, through the friend who stayed, through the heartbreak that cracked you wide open just enough to hear the whisper. You didn't know it then, but now you do.
God has been tracking your journey like a father who never stopped watching his child, even when you got lost, even when you ran the other way, even when you said, "I don't believe anymore." He never flinched, never turned away, never gave up. Because real love doesn't quit when it's inconvenient. And that's the kind of love reaching for you right now. Not the kind that says, "Prove yourself." The kind that says, "I know exactly who you are, and I want you anyway." You're not too complicated. You're not too late. You're not too damaged. You are wanted, as you are, right now. Not the cleaned up version, not the version that has it all together. Just you. God doesn't love the version of you you post online. He loves the one that cries in the dark, the one who doubts but still dares to hope, the one who's been through fire and still has a flicker of belief somewhere deep inside. That flicker, he sees it, and he's ready to turn it into a flame. But you have to stop running. You have to stop believing that you'll miss out if you surrender. Because here's the truth you've been avoiding. What you're afraid to lose might be the very thing that's keeping you from real life. You've built walls around your heart so no one could hurt you again, but those walls have become a prison. You've made peace with survival, but God didn't make you to survive. He made you to live, fully, boldly, honestly, eternally. And that kind of life doesn't begin with a sermon or a ritual. It begins with surrender. Not a weak surrender, a holy one. The kind that says, "God, I'm done pretending. I want you more than I want control." That's the key. You want peace? Lay down control. You want clarity? Lay down pride. You want healing? Lay down your defense mechanisms. And don't worry, God can handle your anger. He can handle your doubt. He can handle your confusion. He's not afraid of your questions. He just wants your heart. He's been asking for it softly, through moments you didn't realize were invitations. That hospital visit. That dream that won't leave your mind. That person who told you, "I don't know why, but I feel like God wants you to know something." These weren't random. They were divine appointments. Every time you almost lost hope but didn't, that was Him. Every time you said, "Something told me not to go there," that was Him. Every time your soul whispered, "There has to be more than this," that was Him. And now here you are, hearing the message again. But this time, your soul is paying attention. Because something deep inside knows that this is not just another moment. This is the moment. Everything changes when you say yes. Not to religion, not to pressure, to love, to truth, to God. And once you do, everything you thought you lost starts to find its way back. Not always quickly, not always the way you imagined, but deeply, permanently, eternally. You've been carrying the world. God's been waiting to carry you. You've been the hero. God's ready to take the weight. The only thing standing in the way is your maybe later. But later is no longer safe. Now is the time. Because this whisper, this message has been trying to reach you for so long. And now that it has, what are you going to do? You've been searching for a loud answer. But what if the silence you're hearing is the answer? What if God isn't speaking in the way you expect because He's trying to teach you to listen in a way you never have? Because here's something most people don't realize until it's too late. God doesn't just speak in sound. He speaks in space. the space between heartbreak and healing, the space between goodbye and new beginnings, the space where the room is quiet, but your heart won't stop racing. That stillness you've been calling emptiness, it might actually be holy ground. Because God doesn't always come with fireworks. Sometimes He shows up in the pause. The reason you feel that ache, the tension, the pressure building inside, isn't because you're broken beyond repair. It's because something divine is stirring. You're standing in the middle of a turning point. You don't know what to call it. You don't know what to do with it. But you know one thing for sure. You can't go back. You've outgrown the mask, the pretending, the playing small. And now God is calling you out, not to shame you, but to show you who you really are. You've lived long enough by other people's definitions. You've followed enough paths just to fit in, keep peace, or earn love. But none of it worked, did it? No matter how much they clapped, no matter how good the highlight reel looked, no matter how convincing your smile was, you still felt the void. Because you weren't born to impress people. You were born to be known by God and to know Him. This isn't about changing everything overnight. It's about changing direction right now. Because the path you're on is burning you out, and the longer you stay on it, the quieter your soul becomes, until silence turns to numbness. But God isn't letting you numb. That's why you're still being reached. That's why even now there's a weight in your chest and a pull in your heart. This is God's mercy in motion. This is heaven knocking on the door you keep pretending isn't there. It doesn't matter how long you've waited or how far you've drifted. It's never too late to answer. There's still time. But time has urgency, because there's something waiting on the other side of your obedience, something you can't even imagine. But you'll never see it if you keep delaying. This is the moment you stop waiting for a sign. This is the sign. God has been showing up in the places you stopped looking, in the pauses between chaos, in the long exhale after a breakdown, in the way someone loved you when they had every reason to walk away, in the moment you expected judgment but received grace instead. These weren't random. They were calculated collisions, divine touches, heaven-sent interruptions, not to control you, but to call you, not to scare you, but to save you. You've been loved at your lowest. You just didn't know who was loving you. But now you do. And that love, it doesn't come with contracts. It comes with freedom. Freedom from guilt, from shame, from the lie that says your mistakes define your destiny. They don't. Your pain is not your purpose. Your trauma is not your title. Your history is not your final headline. God is the one who rewrites endings, and He's reaching for your pen right now. But you have to be willing to let Him write. You've tried writing your own story. You've tried being the author, the editor, and the main character all at once. And you're tired. Let Him take the pen. He doesn't erase everything. He redeems everything. Even the darkest parts. Even the chapters you'd rather forget. Especially those. Because the places you hide are the very places He wants to heal. Not with a lecture, with love. You think He's angry at you. No, He wept with you. You think He's distant. He's been sitting next to you in every silent breakdown. You think He's disappointed. He's actually been delighted to see you still fighting, even if it was messy. Because your mess didn't scare Him. It drew Him closer. And now you have a choice. Keep running or start returning. Not to an institution, not to a list of rules, to God, to peace, to the version of you He created before the world told you who you should be. That version isn't gone. It's buried, and it's time to resurrect it. The world told you to perform. God says, be still. The world told you to fix it all. God says, come as you are. The world told you you're too much or not enough. God says, you are mine. This isn't a feel-good moment. It's a sacred one. Because once you see the truth, you're responsible for it. No more pretending you didn't hear this. No more acting like you didn't feel the shift. You know what this is. This has been trying to reach you. And now that it has, what are you going to do? You've been wondering if God forgot, if He lost track of your name, if He got tired of waiting on you to get it together. You wouldn't say it out loud, but the question has echoed in your mind more than once. If He really saw me, why hasn't He answered? If He really cared, why does it still hurt? If He's really there, why does He feel so far? But what if silence is
And not some future version of you, the real you, right now, mess and all. So stop hiding behind excuses. Stop telling yourself you're not worthy. Stop assuming He's done with you. Because if He was done, you wouldn't be hearing this. You wouldn't feel the tug in your chest. You wouldn't sense the weight of these words. You wouldn't be trembling on the inside while trying to stay composed on the outside. You're not crazy. You're being called. This is divine alignment, a holy setup, a sacred interruption. God is not just knocking, He's waiting. But He won't force His way in. Love never forces. You have to say yes, not to a religion, not to someone else's version of faith, but to the voice you've been hearing in your spirit for years now, the one that's never gone away. That voice has carried you through every lonely night. It's held you through the tears no one saw. It's fought for you when you had no strength left. And now, it's calling you forward. No more delaying, no more pretending, no more saying, maybe later. Because later is how dreams die. Later is how people live their whole lives just outside their calling. Later is how fear disguises itself as logic. And you've had enough of later. Now is the moment. Now is when everything shifts. God didn't forget you. He was preparing you. And now that you're ready, He's ready too. But you have to take the step, just one honest step toward the voice you already recognize. God, I don't have it all figured out, but I trust you. That's it. That's all He needs. He's not looking for your strength. He's looking for your surrender. Because the real miracle doesn't happen when you impress God. It happens when you invite Him in. So breathe. Let go of the fear. Let go of the what-ifs. Let go of trying to earn what's already been freely offered. And just say, yes. Yes to healing. Yes to hope. Yes to the love that's been chasing you through every season. This has been trying to reach you. Through the silence. Through the heartbreak. Through the waiting. And now it has. So don't just hear it. Respond to it. Because your life, your real life, starts here. You didn't ask for the storm. You didn't want the collapse. You prayed for peace, and instead, everything around you started to fall apart. And for a while, it felt like God wasn't listening. You looked at your life and thought, if this is love, why does it hurt so much? You didn't see it then, but you weren't being destroyed. You were being delivered. Because sometimes the most painful seasons are actually surgical.
God wasn't punishing you. He was removing what would have destroyed you later. That job that fell through, it would have chained you. That person who walked away, they couldn't carry the weight of your calling. You thought you were losing everything, but God was stripping away the things that couldn't stay. He wasn't trying to take from you. He was trying to make room. Room for the real you. Room for purpose. Room for alignment. You kept trying to rebuild the old. God was preparing something new. And if you're honest, deep down, something in you changed through that storm. You're not the same. You don't tolerate the same fake love. You don't fall for the same lies. You don't run from the pain the way you used to. Because the storm didn't just hurt you, it refined you. And now, you see clearer. You feel deeper. You know who brought you through. So let's ask the question no one likes to ask. What if the worst thing that happened to you was the very thing that saved you? Not because pain is good, but because God is so good, He refuses to let pain be wasted. He turns wounds into wisdom. He turns endings into entrances. He turns your valley into someone else's lifeline. And now, He's turning to you with a question. Will you keep hiding behind survival? Or will you let the storm you walked through become someone else's light? Because there's someone out there drowning in the same dark you used to live in. And they don't need perfection. They don't need a preacher. They just need someone who's been there, someone who made it. That someone is you. You didn't survive for nothing. You didn't crawl out of that fire just to play it safe again. You were called through the fire so you could walk others out of theirs. That's purpose. That's legacy. That's the message that's been trying to reach you all along. This isn't about being famous. This isn't about building platforms. This is about choosing obedience over fear and watching God multiply your yes. Because what you think is small, your story, your scars, your silence, God calls seed. And seeds become trees. Shade for others, shelter for generations, fruit you'll never see, but heaven will. So the question is no longer, will God use me? The real question is, will you let Him? You don't need to be ready. You don't need a script. You don't need a perfect past. You need a surrendered heart. God, I don't have it all figured out, but if you're calling, I'm available. That's all He's ever needed. Not your qualifications, your availability. Because God is not looking for the best speaker, the smartest mind, the cleanest resume. He's looking for someone real. Someone who doesn't pretend. Someone who's been crushed but still chooses to believe. Someone who knows they're not the Savior, but knows who is. And that person is you. The very storm you cursed may be the story God uses to set captives free. So don't hide your scars. Don't silence your healing. Don't bury your testimony, because you don't need to have it all together to be a messenger. You just need to be willing. This has been trying to reach you. God is not just calling you to healing. He's calling you to mission. Not someday, not when things settle down. Now. Because while you were waiting for the right moment, someone else was waiting for your voice. And you've been quiet for too long. You've told yourself, I'm not qualified. But God never called you based on what you thought you could do. He called you based on what He already placed inside you. And He's not surprised by your insecurity. He's not intimidated by your past.
He chose you knowing all of it, and still said, "That one. I want that one." You, the one who's doubted, the one who's wrestled, the one who's run. You're the one he's after, because the message that saved you now needs a messenger, and you have been chosen to carry it. So stand up, not in your strength, in his, not with fear, with faith. You've survived the storm. Now walk in the reason you made it out. This was never random. This wasn't punishment. This was the making of something sacred. And now you get to live like it. No more shrinking. No more apologizing for your journey. No more hiding the very proof that God is real. Because someone out there needs what you carry. And you are not empty. You are not disqualified. You are not invisible. You are called. This message has been trying to reach you for years, and now it has. So don't wait for another sign. You are the sign. There's a reason you've always felt a little different. A reason why the world never quite fit. Why the noise feels overwhelming. Why you've questioned everything while others just coast. It's not because you're broken. It's because you're called. You weren't made to blend in. You were born to wake people up. That stirring inside you, that unrest you keep trying to ignore, it's not a flaw. It's a divine signal.
You're not just a soul wandering through life. You are a carrier of something eternal. But here's the hard truth. Calling always comes with resistance. You thought the battle meant you were off track? No. The battle is confirmation. The enemy doesn't waste energy on those going nowhere. The pressure you feel is because of the potential you carry. That anxiety, that fatigue, that why me ache in your spirit, that's what happens when heaven has placed something inside of you and hell is trying to silence it. But no matter what came against you, you're still here. And that alone should tell you you're dangerous to darkness. Because you've walked through hell and didn't burn. You've been hit and didn't break. You've been overlooked but never out of God's sight. You were built different, not for popularity, but for purpose. And now, the time for hiding is over. You've done enough second-guessing. You've played humble long enough. You've told yourself, I'm not ready for too many seasons. But here's the secret most people never tell you. You won't feel ready when it's real. Because real calling is bigger than you. It overwhelms. It stretches. It makes you tremble. But if it doesn't scare you, it's probably not from God. Because God-sized callings require God-sized trust. And trust means moving before you have all the answers. You keep asking, but what if I fail? God is asking, but what if you fly? You keep looking at your weakness. God is pointing at His strength. You keep measuring yourself by your past. God is measuring you by what He placed within you before you were even born. That fire you've been trying to put out, it's holy. That ache in your chest that says, there's more? That's the voice of your Creator reminding you why you're alive. Because your life is not random. Your existence is not background noise. You are the result of divine intention. You were breathed into this generation on purpose. You carry something this world needs, and only you can release it. Yes, others can speak. Yes, others can serve. Yes, others can lead. But no one else can carry what God specifically trusted you with. And the cost of staying silent is too high now. Because while you delay, someone else stays bound. While you hide, someone else keeps searching for the light you carry. While you second guess, the enemy keeps convincing others they're unworthy. But what if your voice is the one that shatters that lie? What if your story is the key to someone else's freedom? What if your obedience sets off a chain reaction you never get to see on this side of eternity? Wouldn't it be worth it? You don't have to have a stage. You don't have to write books or preach sermons. All you have to do is say yes. Yes to the nudge. Yes to the mission. Yes to the God who's been trying to reach you since the beginning. And once you say yes, everything shifts. Doors open. Favor follows. Peace returns. Purpose ignites. Not because it's easy, not because the road is smooth, but because God walks with you. And where His presence is, nothing can stand against you. The giants may still stand, but they'll fall. The storms may still rage, but you'll walk through them. Because when God calls, He also equips. He also shields. He also sustains. You're not going in alone. You're going in marked. Marked by heaven. Covered in grace. Fueled by something this world didn't give and can't take away. But you have to stop waiting for perfection. The moment is now. The mission is now. The world needs your yes now. So say it. Say it even if your voice shakes. Say it even if your hands tremble. Say it even if you don't know what's next. God never required clarity. He only required surrender. Here I am, Lord. Send me. That's the anthem of the cult. That's the heartbeat of those who change history. Not the perfect, not the popular, not the polished, but the willing. And you're more ready than you think. Because this message, the one that won't leave your spirit alone, it's been trying to reach you for a reason. You're not just hearing this. You're being commissioned. This is the beginning of your next chapter. A new rhythm, a new assignment, a new anointing. And you don't have to earn it. You just have to embrace it. You've survived. You've grown. You've healed. Now, it's time to move. Let heaven echo with the sound of your yes. Let the earth feel the tremble of your obedience. Because when someone like you steps into purpose, the kingdom advances. You are the proof that God still moves. You are the sign that grace still wins. You are the vessel through which light is breaking through. And you are not alone. You are called. You are chosen. You are ready. It feels like everyone else figured it out, doesn't it? You look around and everyone seems to be moving, growing, winning. They've got momentum, and you've got questions. They've got testimonies, and you're still standing in the hallway, still waiting for the door to open, still believing but barely. And that's when the lie comes in. The one that says, maybe you missed your moment. Maybe you're not chosen after all. Maybe God skipped over you. But hear this now. God doesn't forget His own. You were not left behind. You were not disqualified by delay. Delay is not denial. Waiting is not wasted. Silence is not absence. He's not punishing you. He's positioning you. Because what He's building in you privately will be used publicly. But the foundation must come first. You see, deep work takes time. And the deeper the calling, the deeper the preparation. God isn't making you wait because He's investing in you. You weren't meant for shallow waters. You were designed for depth. And depth takes time. You've looked at the surface of your life and thought, nothing's happening. But heaven has been building underground, where no one can see it, where your roots are taking hold, where your character is being formed. Because what He's calling you to carry, it can't rest on a shaky foundation. He's been strengthening you in silence, training you in obscurity, teaching you in trials. And now, He's whispering again, I haven't left. I'm closer than ever. That restlessness in your soul, it's not emptiness, it's activation. God is stirring up what's been dormant, resurrecting what you thought was dead, reawakening what life tried to bury. But you have to stop comparing timelines. You have to stop measuring your journey by someone else's highlight reel. What they built in 5 years might take you 1 because you're being built different. Your pace is not slow. It's sacred. And while others are sprinting ahead, you've been learning to walk with Him, step by step. Not for applause, not for validation, but for alignment. Because you'd rather be in step with God than ahead of Him and lost. You've been envying their spotlight, not realizing your roots go deeper. And when your season comes, it will be sustainable. It won't crash. It won't collapse because God built it. And He built you. So breathe. Stop panicking. Stop believing the lie that it's too late. You're not behind. You're on time. Divine time.
The kind that doesn't rush. The kind that doesn't miss. Because when God says, now, everything changes in a moment. The doors open. The flood comes. The fruit appears. The promise arrives. But it only works if you stay planted. If you trust that He's still writing, even when the page feels blank. You keep asking, when? God keeps answering, trust. Not because He's withholding, because He's preparing. He's teaching you to lean, to listen, to love Him for who He is, not just for what He gives. Because the greatest miracle isn't what He's going to do, it's who you're becoming while you wait. You're becoming resilient, humble, focused, grateful, and most importantly, rooted. So when the blessings come, you won't forget the one who gave them. You won't lose yourself in applause. You won't confuse calling with convenience. You'll carry the weight with wisdom. And when the world asks, how did you get here? You'll say, it wasn't quick, but it was worth it. So hold on. Hold on when the delay gets heavy. Hold on when it seems like nothing's shifting. Hold on when the lie says, give up, it's over. Because the enemy wouldn't be this loud if you weren't this close. You're not forgotten. You're not abandoned. You're not running out of time. You're right where you need to be, in the hands of a God who finishes what He starts. And He started something in you. That spark that never went out, that dream that refused to die, that's Him. Still speaking, still reaching, still calling. So don't confuse silence with absence. And don't confuse waiting with being left behind. You are not behind. You are being brought forward on purpose. When it's time, it won't be forced. It won't be fake. It won't fall apart. It will flow. Because it will be from Him. And you'll know. This has been trying to reach you, not to rush you, but to remind you. You haven't missed it. You're right on time, and the best is still ahead. You thought the journey would be quicker. You prayed, believed, obeyed, and still the road stretched longer than you expected. You kept walking, kept trusting,
But some days it felt like you were wandering. You questioned your direction. You questioned His presence. And in the silence, you began to wonder, am I walking alone? But the truth is, you never were. You just didn't recognize who was walking beside you. Because God doesn't always show up the way we expect. Sometimes He looks like peace when everything's falling apart. Sometimes He speaks through a stranger, a song, a whisper in your soul that stops you in your tracks. Sometimes He walks silently, not because He's gone, but because He's teaching you to recognize His presence without needing proof. He's not just walking ahead of you to lead. He's walking with you to teach you how to trust. That moment you almost gave up, but something inside said, keep going. That was Him. That night you couldn't stop crying, and suddenly peace wrapped around you like a blanket. That was Him. That random encouragement at the exact moment you needed it, the text, the call, the kind word, that was Him. You thought He was distant because He wasn't loud. But God is never more present than when He's quiet. Because it's in that quiet He draws you close enough to feel Him. And now He's whispering again, you're not walking this path alone. You've made progress you don't even see. You've overcome battles you never thought you'd survive. You've carried more than anyone knows, and God has seen every step. So don't you dare think this walk is for nothing. Every step you've taken in faith has been planting seeds. And seeds don't always show fruit overnight, but beneath the surface, they're taking root. And in due time, you will see it. But even more than what's coming, God wants to remind you of what's with you. Because He's not just the God of the finish line. He's the God of the in-between. He doesn't wait for you at the destination with folded arms.
He walks every mile with you, patient, kind, never in a hurry, never too far. He knows the detours you didn't expect, the heartbreaks you didn't plan, the questions you're too afraid to ask out loud. And still, He walks. Not ahead, not behind, beside. Even when you were angry, even when you doubted, even when you told Him, I'm done, He never left. That kind of love doesn't abandon. That kind of grace doesn't expire. You may have stopped praying. He never stopped listening. You may have let go of Him. He never let go of you. And now you're wondering, can I still go back? Can I still follow after all this time? Yes. You haven't missed your moment. You haven't walked too far. You haven't burned the bridge, because He is the bridge. He is the path. He is the light for your next step. He's the strength in your weakness. You thought you needed a new map, but all you really needed was to look up, because God never stopped walking with you. You just stopped noticing. He's still here, in the silence, in the slow steps, in the middle of your questions. And He's not in a rush to get you somewhere. He's focused on being with you where you are, because that's who He is, not just a rescuer, not just a provider, not just a promise maker. He is Emmanuel, God with us, God with you. You've heard the stories, you've read the verses, but now it's personal. He's not just the God of Moses or David or Paul. He's the God who walks with you through your desert, your Goliaths, your prisons. And here's the secret the enemy doesn't want you to realize. Your walk with God is the most dangerous thing you have. Not your talent, not your platform, not your appearance. Your walk. Because when you walk with God, you stop relying on people to validate you. You stop needing circumstances to define you.
You stop being shaken by things that used to destroy you. When you walk with God, you walk with confidence, not fear. You walk with peace, not panic. You walk with identity, not insecurity. That's why the storm came, not to drown you, to reveal who's in the boat with you. That's why the fire came, not to burn you, to burn away everything that isn't eternal. That's why the journey has taken so long, not because you're behind, because God is walking slowly with you, because He knows what you need more than arrival is awareness. Awareness that you're not walking alone. Awareness that every step is a step closer. Awareness that His presence is your provision. You were never meant to figure it all out. You were meant to walk in step with the one who already has. So today, just take one step, not a leap, not a sprint, just a step toward Him, toward peace, toward surrender. And watch what happens. Because when you walk with God, you don't walk toward a finish line. You walk into fulfillment, the kind that lasts, the kind that satisfies, the kind that can't be taken away. This is what's been trying to reach you all along. Not a religion, not a checklist, a relationship, real, alive, and walking right beside you. And now you know, you're not alone. You never were. You never will be. Because He's not just waiting for you to arrive, He's walking you there. You've made it to this point, through doubt, through silence, through pain, and persistence. You've wrestled with truth. You've faced your fears. You've listened closely to a message that somehow felt made for you, because it was. This, every word, every nudge in your spirit, has been part of something bigger than you realized. A divine pursuit, a holy invitation, an echo from heaven that's been calling your name all along. This is not just the end of a message. This is a beginning. Because now, you can't unhear what you've heard. You can't go back to pretending you didn't feel the shift. You can't stay asleep now that you've been awakened. You can't unknow that you've been called. God has been reaching for you through every season, through the trauma, through the victories, through the confusion, through the longing. And now, for the first time in a long time, you're fully present, still, listening, ready. Ready not just to be inspired, but transformed. Because inspiration fades, emotion fades, but surrender, that changes everything. And that's what this has all been about. A whisper that has followed you since you were a child. A tug in your spirit when the world tried to pull you in every direction. A still, small voice that never stopped saying, "Come home." God has never wanted performance. He wanted you, your heart, your honesty, your hunger. He's not waiting for the best version of you. He's calling to the real version, the broken one, the tired one, the one who's still battling things you don't talk about. And right now, that version of you is enough. Enough to be loved, enough to be chosen, enough to be used. Because God doesn't need perfect vessels, He needs willing ones. And if you can say, even with trembling hands, "God, I'm yours," then everything changes. The weight starts to lift. The fog begins to clear. The chains that held you for years begin to break. Because surrender isn't weakness. It's the key to freedom. You thought strength was hiding the pain, but real strength is laying it down. And in this moment, this sacred, quiet moment, He's still speaking. Not through thunder, not through spectacle, but through love. Pure,
undeniable, eternal. The kind of love that says, I saw every moment, I never turned away, and I still want you. So now you have a choice, not a religious obligation, a relational decision to say yes, to come closer, to walk with the one who's been walking with you all along. This is not hype. This is not emotion. This is your moment, the moment you finally answer, the moment you step out of the old and into what was always meant to be yours. Peace, clarity, purpose, God. You've searched for all of it in people, in success, in distraction, but none of it satisfied, because none of it was Him. He is the missing piece. He is the voice behind the silence. He is the fire that still burns in your spirit after everything else faded. And He is here, now. This isn't just a message that touched your heart. This is a holy collision. Heaven knocking, God reaching, truth being revealed. So what now? Now you respond with surrender, with honesty, with everything you've got left. You don't need to know what happens tomorrow. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to take the step. God, I'm yours. Say it, mean it, let it flood through you. Because the moment you say yes, really say yes, everything shifts. Not because life gets easier, but because now you're not walking alone. You've come full circle, from questioning to knowing, from searching to finding, from surviving to starting again. And the truth that's been trying to reach you all along, it finally did. So breathe. You're not behind. You're not too late. You're not forgotten. You are right on time. You are seen. You are deeply, completely, relentlessly loved. This is your moment. Step into it.